Welcome back, seekers of the abyss, to the great void where truth and terror intertwine, where ancient knowledge corrupts and cosmic forces lurk just beneath the veil of reality. Today we open the most cursed tome in the history of forbidden lore, the Necronomicon, a book so dangerous that its very existence is denied by the sane and sought after by the mad. What lies within its pages are not mere myths or allegories, but horrifying revelations about beings so ancient, so utterly alien, that their names alone are said to fracture the human mind. These are the most terrifying entities ever recorded by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, chronicled in obsessive detail, so pay attention, for ignorance might be bliss, but knowledge is far worse. Before time, before stars, before space itself was conceived, these beings were already there, primordial entities that exist beyond time, form and comprehension. These are not gods in the sense mortals understand. Gods seek worship, offer blessings or punishment. They have intention, purpose. But the entities in the Necronomicon, beings like Yig, Ghatanothoa, Zoth-Ommog, Rhan-Tegoth and the infamous Cthulhu, possess none of these things. They are chaos personified, existing in dimensions orthogonal to our own, seeping through the cracks of reality like mold on decaying flesh. Let us begin with Yig, the father of serpents. Though lesser known than his cosmic brethren, Yig is terrifying in his earthly intimacy. He is said to be the progenitor of the Serpent men, an ancient race predating humanity, whose underground cities and hidden temples may still lurk in untouched jungles. Yig takes offense easily. Kill a snake or blaspheme his name, and you invite his wrath, torments that begin in dreams, but bleed into waking life. Slithering shadows, hallucinations and irreversible descent into madness are said to follow his mark. Next comes Ghatanothoa, a deity of living death, whose mere gaze induces a fate worse than mortality. To witness him is to be paralyzed eternally, your body frozen like stone while your mind remains awake, screaming silently inside a flesh statue, a conscious prison that may last for centuries. Ancient civilizations constructed massive temples to contain his image, hiding even depictions of him behind veils, for even representations could trigger petrification. Ghatanothoa is horror distilled into stillness, an eternal moment of conscious paralysis from which there is no release. And then there is Zoth-Ommog, a name whispered in abyssal rituals deep beneath the sea. A lesser spawn of the great old ones, Zoth-Ommog is often overshadowed by his infamous kin, but his obscurity makes him no less lethal. His body defies biology, a pulsating tentacled form that slips between dimensions. It is said he lies imprisoned beneath the Pacific Ocean, slumbering in a submerged city untouched by time. Cults still make offerings to his name, believing he will awaken as a herald of Cthulhu's rise. And if that day comes, the oceans will not just conceal death, they will become it. Far to the frozen north, beneath miles of ancient Arctic ice, slumbers Rhan-Tegoth. Unlike others who corrupt the soul or tear at sanity, Rhan-Tegoth is hunger incarnate. Described as a grotesque insectoid being with armored plating and gnashing mandibles, he was once worshipped by a civilization long lost to time. Sacrifices made to keep him asleep, but the ice is melting, the world is changing, and should the great predator beneath the tundra awaken, his feast will begin with humanity. But nothing compares to Cthulhu, the high priest of the great old ones, slumbering in the sunken city of Rhan. Part dragon, part squid, part anthropoid titan, his form is a blasphemy against logic and symmetry. Yet it is not Cthulhu's appearance that terrifies the most, it is his mind. Even in slumber, his consciousness infects dreams across the globe. Cults worship him, guided by whispers in their sleep, erecting shrines in places forgotten by time. His awakening would not mean war or conquest, it would mean oblivion, our minds broken, our civilization shattered, not out of malice, but out of sheer irrelevance. We are ants before a god who does not even know we exist. But what if terror did not come from form or flesh, but from thought itself? Enter Hastur, the King in yellow. Unlike other entities, Hastur does not need to be summoned. He exists in language, in symbols, in cursed literature, like the eponymous play, The King in Yellow. To read this play is to invite madness, to open one's mind to a reality that unravels like a frayed tapestry. Hastur is not seen but felt, his yellow robes whispering at the edge of your vision, a presence that drives you insane not by what it does, but by what it reveals, that reality is paper thin, and he is just behind it. And then there are the outer gods, Zoth-Ommog, the blind idiot god, who gibbers at the center of the universe, Rhan-Tegoth, the crawling chaos, who serves as their emissary, Necronomicon, the black goat of the woods, with 1,000 young. These are not beings that dwell in time and space. They are time and space. Their existence is beyond cause and effect. Zoth-Ommog dreams the universe into existence. Should he wake, everything ends. Rhan-Tegoth walks among us in 1,000 forms, spreading insanity not with rage, but with amusement. He is a trickster of cosmic scale, his games ending in apocalypse. Necronomicon, on the other hand, represents a grotesque parody of fertility, birthing uncountable abominations in her shadowed groves. She is creation without conscience, a womb of infinite corruption. These beings are not evil, they are not good, they are indifferent. And that is what makes them terrifying. A malevolent god can be appeased. A chaotic force can be survived. But what defense do you have against something that doesn't even notice you exist? Something that breaks your mind simply by being real. The Necronomicon doesn't just describe them, it connects you to them, reading their names, learning their truths, even thinking too deeply about them, is to stand at the edge of the abyss and feel the abyss looking back. It is an invitation to madness, wrapped in the illusion of understanding. And the worst part, humanity keeps looking. We translate forbidden texts, we dig up ancient ruins, we whisper their names. We want to know, we need to know, but once known, the knowledge cannot be unlearned. Once spoken, the names echo in your soul. The Necronomicon is not just a book. It is a door, and with every word you read, you are stepping closer to opening it. So beware, seekers. Knowledge is not always a blessing. Sometimes it is a curse. And if you hear the whispers in your dreams tonight, if you see symbols where none should be, or feel a presence behind your mirror that should not exist, remember this. You were warned. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and descend further with us. If you The emerald flame of Cthulhu burns not as fire but as an idea, a thought that infects, devours and transcends reason, flickering in temples that float above voids and casting shadows that move independent of light, shadows that whisper truths best left unknown. Worshippers of the flame speak not in tongues but in screams, their minds unraveling like ancient scrolls exposed to salt and rot. The green fire is not merely illumination, it is a presence, a sentience that devours faith and offers only madness in return, and those who dream of it wake screaming, eyes glowing with impossible color, knowing things no man should, and in its glow another horror stirs. Zoth-Ommog, the blind idiot god, gibbering eternally at the center of chaos, surrounded by flutists that play a music so mad, so broken, it holds the universe together, not through design but through a kind of lunatic inertia. Around Zoth-Ommog, reality warps. The stars twist into spirals of screaming light, and time flows backward, sideways, and not at all. He dreams, and we exist. Should he wake, all things collapse into the screaming nothing from which they came. But Zoth-Ommog is not alone. His soul and messenger is Rhan-Tegoth, the crawling chaos, who walks among men wearing 1,000 skins, speaking in riddles and lies that twist civilizations into Unlike his kin, Rhan-Tegoth speaks, laughs and mocks. He is the only one who seems to notice us, and that is what makes him the most dangerous of all. He masquerades as prophets, as kings, as saviors, leading humanity to madness with a smile and a whisper. And then, in the swirling void where form has no meaning, floats Yog-Sothoth, a being of infinite glowing spheres, each one a universe, a timeline, a possibility, all of time and space made flesh. To see Yog-Sothoth is to see every version of yourself die, every mistake unfold, every future dissolve. Some who glimpse him never return. Others return changed, not just insane, but redefined, rewritten by the knowledge of all things at once. He is the key and the gate, the guardian of realities and their destroyer. And he exists not in the beyond, but in the spaces between, just close enough to feel, but never to reach. From mind-shattering truths, we descend into grotesque matter. Manala, the infinite cancer, is not an entity in the traditional sense. It is a living disease, a flesh hive of self-replicating horror. It begins small, a lump beneath the skin, a cough that bleeds shadows, and soon spreads through bone, thought, and city. It learns, it grows, and it creates mouths where there should be none, eyes that see too much, and organs that pulse in the wrong rhythm. Corpses walk not because they were resurrected, but because they were consumed and reborn in Manala's image. In forgotten hospitals and abandoned laboratories, its biomass pulses, waiting for the next warm body to mimic, to hollow out, to become. Some believe Manala is our future. Others believe it is already inside us, and beneath the soil, another hunger waits. The ghouls, twisted remnants of humanity, who have traded flesh for survival, dwelling in vast necropolises under graveyards and battlefields. Their society is ancient, their rituals dark, and their diet unspeakable. But even among them, a darker secret festers. Some say the ghouls were born from communion with Rhan-Tegoth, the frozen insect god of the north, a being who does not wake, but dreams of endless hunger. His slumber is guarded by permafrost and time, but the ice is melting, and the stars are aligning once more. And when he wakes, the feast begins. Yet no pantheon of cosmic horror is complete without the hybrids, the profundos, half-human, half-deep one cults, who live in coastal shadows, their children born with gills and black eyes, their prayers sung in bubbles beneath the wave. They worship Zoth-Ommog, the imprisoned Leviathan who writhes in sleep below the Pacific, sending dreams to his spawn. They believe when he wakes, the land will drown, and they will walk free among the ruins. High in forgotten mountain temples, the Bayaki soar, winged horrors that serve as cosmic transport for the mad and the damned. They arrive without sound, talons gripping scholars and heretics alike, whisking them through dimensional folds to destinations unknown. Some return, minds hollowed like fruit. Others never return at all. And on the back of these creatures ride sorcerers of the old world, their skin tattooed with runes that bleed, their eyes glowing with stolen time. Then there are the Migo, crustacean-like scientists from beyond the stars, who collect brains in cylinders for study, removing the soul from the body not out of malice, but curiosity. Their ships hum with unnatural geometry, built not of metal but of flesh and song. They do not kill unless necessary, but their version of mercy is terrifying. To them we are data points, things to catalogue, to dissect, to understand before our planet is no longer relevant. In their cold logic, there is no evil, only procedure. And then Serpent, not metaphorical, but literal. Yg's children, slithering in hidden temples, speaking languages older than stars. The Serpent people do not age as we do. They remember the Ice Age, they remember fire's invention, they remember when humanity was prey. And beneath their temples, in libraries carved from obsidian, they keep scrolls that speak of the end, when their father shall rise again, and those who walk upright will crawl once more. But the final horror is not flesh, nor madness, nor mutation. It is the Necronomicon itself. The book is not merely a record, but a vessel, a beacon, a key. It speaks in riddles that become clear only after your mind has twisted beyond repair. It changes when unread, shifting pages to show you what you are not ready to see. Some say the book writes itself using blood from those who dream of it. Others claim it is not a book at all, but a living thing masquerading as scripture. To open it is to open yourself to possession, to revelation, to transformation. It does not simply tell of horrors, it invites them, and those who listen closely to the ink will hear voices that should not exist, speaking languages no throat should shape. That is the final revelation. The Necronomicon is not a story. It is an infection. It spreads through thought, through speech, through dream. You do not read it, you become it. So if you have made it this far, if the names now echo in your mind, Azathoth, Nyarlathotep, Yog-Sothoth, Cthulhu, Hastur Shibni-Garath, if you see their sigils behind your eyelids and hear their whispers in static, then you are already changing. The door is open, the abyss is staring back, and it knows your name. Beyond the known horrors of flesh, madness, and cosmic indifference lies a deeper strata of terror, entities and truths so deeply buried in time and myth that even the Necronomicon dares not speak them aloud without blood spilled first. These are not merely beings, they are principles, sentient paradoxes that twist reality like a drowning man's final breath. They do not sleep or wake, they resonate, infecting symbols, thoughts, weather patterns, bloodlines, and even entire civilizations, long extinct, but somehow still dreaming beneath the crust of the earth. Chief among these is Tilsha, the green flame, less a deity than a vector of ontological corruption, a viridian pillar that dances at the edge of every ritual gone wrong. Unlike Azathoth, who dreams existence blindly, or Nyarlathotep, who toys with man's sanity, Tilsha burns at the root of causality itself. His flames do not consume, they replace memory, biology, gravity, purpose. To witness his emergence is to have your entire worldview rewritten mid-sentence, your flesh re-encoded with alien purpose. Those who dance in the flame emerge not dead, but remade vessels through which something else sees. But even this flame is a footnote in the chronicle of forgotten terrors. In the lowest level of the abyss, beyond even the sleeping city of R'lyeh, exists Yog-Sothoth, the faceless god of forbidden desire, a headless, swollen being whose mouth opens in his chest, always grinning, always hungry for thoughts unspoken. He is summoned not through chance, but invitation, a willing embrace of taboo, of perversion, of sacred violation. He walks through books, waiting for readers to cross that invisible moral threshold, where disgust becomes fascination. The moment you ask, what if? He is already behind you. His worshippers carry pages from the Necronomicon nailed into their skin, their mouths sewn shut to silence their endless moaning. But not all entities exist in form. Some manifest through architecture, like the endless staircase of Zilpogwa, the obscene architect, whose temples contain more rooms than atoms in the universe. Those who wander his ruins find doors where walls should be, and time loops that trap pilgrims for centuries inside a single second. He builds not for worship but to trap, to confuse, to disorient until the soul collapses from internal contradiction. Some say the Necronomicon structure mirrors his temple's spiraling chapters, looping passages and impossible geometries meant to weaken the reader's grip on reality. And then, in the subterranean pits beneath dreams, there festers Atlach-Nasha, the spider god. She weaves her web not in darkness, but in reality, an invisible lattice connecting every thought of fear, every trauma, every premonition. Each strand resonates with nightmares long forgotten by their dreamers, and her 8 eyes blink only when someone truly realizes they are not alone. Those who worship her develop a taste for silk and silence, their homes filled with husks, their sleep disturbed by the sound of countless legs whispering across ceilings that should not exist. And there are still deeper horror. Dagon and Hydra, the oceanic colossi, rise not just as kings of the deep, but as memory itself. Each tide they command washes away history. Each tsunami rewrites coastlines and bloodlines alike. To see them breach the water is to forget your name, your mother's voice, the shape of your god. They rule not through destruction but through erasure, and their cults thrive in flooded cities beneath the Mariana Trench, lighting bioluminescent shrines built from coral grown on drowned saints. And far beyond even these nightmare realms is the nameless mist, the progenitor of the outer gods, an entity without symbol, without image, known only through absence. Where it moves, stars dim. Where it breathes, music becomes naught. It has no motive, no will, no presence, and yet all things began within it. It is the wound in existence that allowed everything else to fester out. The Necronomicon speaks of it only once, in a sentence so complex it requires multiple translations to even attempt reading, and each version is a different kind of madness. Scholars of the mist are always blind, not because the mist took their sight, but because they clawed out their own eyes to stop seeing too much. And then, as if to mock all comprehension, there are the Eta runes, symbols that devour meaning itself. Written by an unnamed scribe who vanished before finishing the final page of the book. These glyphs change every time they are observed, crawling across the parchment like maggots on scripture. Speaking them aloud causes seizures. Writing them in sand attracts shadows that do not cast light. They are the true alphabet of chaos, a language not meant for speech, but for infection. And in between all these horrors, the book itself breathes. The Necronomicon is not inert, it observes. Every reader becomes a scribe, every annotation becomes a ritual, every bookmark is a gateway. Some owners of the book have vanished mid-sentence, their bodies combusting or inverting upon uttering a forgotten name. Some have been found whispering into radios tuned to static, repeating coordinates that lead to nowhere. Until you arrive, it adapts, it mutates, it has favorite, and worst of all, it remembers. Those who have read it once are never free. Their shadows linger longer, their reflections blink wrong, their thoughts echo with other voices, not loud enough to notice, until they become the only thing you hear. The Necronomicon is not merely a catalogue of demons and horrors, it is a roadmap, a trap, a test. Each chapter is a dare, each page a spiral, each sentence a key. To reach the final page is to reach the final door, and what lies beyond it is not knowledge, it is unmaking, not death, not madness, not even oblivion, just absence, pure, eternal absence. So beware, seekers. If your dreams begin to loop, if your pets avoid your gaze, if your mirror lags behind your motion, stop reading, burn the book, seal the room, salt the earth, for part 3 has been spoken, and the ink is still wet.